After a long civil war between the royal family of York and the royal family of Lancaster, England now enjoys a period of peace under King Edward IV of the victorious Yorks. But Edward's younger brother Richard is jealous of Edward's power and the happiness of everyone around him. Malicious, power-hungry, and bitter about his physical deformities, Richard aspires secretly to the throne and will kill anyone who gets in his way.
Now is the winter of our discontent, made glorious summer by this son of York, and all the clouds that lowered upon our house are deep in the bosom of the ocean buried. Now are our brows bound with victorious wreaths, our bruised arms hung up for monuments, our stern alarms changed to merry meetings, dreadful marches to delightful measures. Grim-visaged war hath smoothed his wrinkled front. And now, instead of mounting barbed steeds to fright the souls of fearful adversaries, he capers nimbly into a lady's chamber to the lascivious pleasing of a lute. But I am not shaped for sportive tricks, nor made to court an amorous looking glass. I that am rudely stamped in want love's majesty, to strut before a wanton ambling nymph. I that am curtailed of this fair proportion, cheated of feature by dissembling nature, deformed, unfinished, sent before my time, into this breathing world, scarce half made up. Why I, in this weak piping time of peace, have no delight to pass away the time, but to spy my own shadow in the sun, and to scant on my own deformity. And I that am so lamely and unfashionable that dogs bark as I halt by them. And since I cannot prove to be a lover, to entertain these fair, well-spoken days, I am determined to prove a villain. Plots have I lain, inductions dangerous, by drunken prophecies, libels, and dreams, to set my brother Clarence and the king in deadly hate, the one against the other. And if King Edward be as true and just as I am subtle, false, and treacherous, this day should Clarence closely be mewed up by a prophecy that says that G of Edward's heirs the murderer shall be. Dive thoughts down to my soul, here Clarence comes. Brother, good day. What means this armed guard that waits upon your grace?
His Majesty, tending my person's safety, hath appointed this conduct to convey me to the tower.
Upon what cause?
Because my name is George.
Alack, my lord, that fault is none of yours. He should for that commit your godfathers.
He hearkens after prophecies and dreams, and says a wizard told him that by G his issue disinherited should be. And for my name of George begins with G, it follows in his thought that I am he.
I beseech your graces both to pardon me, forbear your conference with the noble duke.
We know thy charge, Brackenbury, and will obey.
Brother, farewell. I will unto the king, and your imprisonment will not be long. Meantime, have patience.
I must perforce farewell.
Go tread the path that thou shalt never return. Simple, plain Clarence, I do love thee so, that I will shortly send thy soul to heaven, if heaven will take the gift at our hands.
With his brother George, Duke of Clarence, locked up in the Tower, Richard is now one step closer to the throne. Now all he needs is a well-connected wife. And who better than Lady Anne? Richard sees Lady Anne at Westminster Abbey, paying her respects to the late Lancastrian King Henry VI. Although she is young and beautiful, and he, malicious, ugly, and deformed, Richard proceeds to profess his love for her. Now, Richard is responsible for the murder of Lady Anne's husband, so she is not pleased with Richard or his proposal of marriage. Can he win her over?
Poor key-cold figure of a holy king, pale ashes on the house of Lancaster. Thou bloodless remnant of that royal blood, be it lawful that I invocate thy ghost, to hear the lamentations of poor Anne, wife to thine Edward, to thy slaughtered son, stabbed by the selfsame hand that made your wounds. Cursed be the hand that made those fatal holes. Cursed be the heart that had the heart to do it. If ever he had wife, let her be made more miserable by the death of him, as I am made by my poor lord and thee. What black magician conjures up this fiend to stop the devoted charitable deeds?
Sweet saint, for charity, be not so cursed.
Foul devil, for God's sake, hence, and trouble us not. For thou hast made the happy earth thy hell, filled with cursing cries and deep exclaims.
Lady, you know no rules of charity, which renders good for bad, blessings for curses.
Villain, thou knowest no law of God nor man, no beast so fierce but knows some touch of pity.
But I know none, therefore am no beast.
Oh, wonderful when devils tell the truth.
More wonderful when angels are so angry. Vouchsafe divine perfection of a woman, of these supposed evils to give me leave, by circumstance, but to acquit myself, fairer than tongue can name. Let me have some patience, leisure to excuse myself.
Fouler than heart can think thee, thou canst make no excuse current but to hang thyself.
I did not kill your husband.
Why, then he is alive?
Nay, he is dead, and slain by Edward's hand.
In thou foul throat thou liest. Queen Margaret saw thy murderous falcon smoking in his blood. And didst thou not kill this king?
I grant ye.
Dost thou grant me, hedgehog? Then God grant me too. Thou mayst be damned for that wicked deed. Oh, he was gentle, mild, and virtuous.
The fitter for the King of heaven that hath him.
He is in heaven, where thou shalt never come.
Let him thank me that helped to send him thither, for he was better that place than earth.
And thou unfit for any place but hell.
Yes, one place else, if you will hear me name it.
Some dungeon.
The marriage chamber.
I'll rest betide the chamber where thou liest.
So it will, madame, till I wed with you.
I hope so.
I know so. But gentle Lady Anne, your beauty was the cause of that effect. Your beauty, which did haunt me in my sleep, to undertake the death of all the world, so I might live 1 hour in your sweet bosom.
If I thought that, I'd tell thee homicide. These nails should rend that beauty from my cheeks.
These eyes could never endure such sweet beauty's wreck. He that bereft thee, lady, of thy husband, did it to help thee to a better husband.
This better doth not breathe upon the earth.
He lives that loves thee better than he could.
Where is he?
Here. Why dost thou spitteth at me?
Would it were mortal poison for thy sake.
Never came poison from so sweet a place.
Never hung poison on a fowler toad. Out of my sight thou dost infect my eyes.
Teach thy lips not such scorn, for they were made for kissing, lady, not for such contempt. Lo, if thy revengeful heart cannot forgive, I lend thee the sharp-pointed sword, which if thou wish to hide in this true bosom, and let forth the soul that adoreth thee, I lay it naked to thy deadly stroke, and humbly beg death upon my knee. Nay, do not pause, for 'twas I that killed King Henry, but 'twas thy beauty that provoked me. Nay, now dispatch, for 'twas I that stabbed young Edward. But 'twas thy heavenly face that set me on. Take up the sword again, or take me.
Arise, dissembler. Though I wish thy death, I will not be the executioner.
Then bid me kill myself, and I will do it.
I have already.
Tush, that was in thy rage. Speak it again, and with the word, that hand, which for thy love did kill thy love, shall for thy love kill a far truer love. To both their deaths thou shalt be accessory.
If I would I knew thy heart.
'Tis figured in thy tongue.
I fear me both are false.
Then never a man was true.
Well, well, put up your sword.
Vouchsafe to wear this ring.
To take is not to give.
Look how this ring encompasseth thy finger, just how thy breast encloseth my poor heart. Wear both of them, for both of them are thine. Grant me this boon.
With all my heart, and much rejoice me too, to see you become so penitent.
Bid me farewell.
'Tis more than you deserve, but since you teach me how to flatter you, imagine I've said farewell already.
Was ever a woman in this humor wooed? Was ever a woman in this humor won? I will have her, but I will not keep her long.
The king becomes ill and is very close to death. Richard must now make sure that his brother, Clarence, does not stand in his way to wear the crown for himself. Richard decides to hurry and send a death warrant to have Clarence killed in the Tower.
But soft, here come my executioners. How now, my hearty, stout, resolved mates? Are you now going to dispatch this steed?
We are, my lord, and come to have the warrant that we may be admitted where he is.
Well thought upon. I have it here about me. But, sirs, be sudden in the execution, for Clarence is well spoken, and perhaps may move your hearts to pity when you mark him.
Tush, fear not, my lord. We will not stand the prey. Talkers are no good doers. Be assured, we come to use our hands and not our tongues.
Your eyes drop millstones when fools' eyes drop tears. I like you, lads. About your business straight. Go, go, dispatch.
We will, my noble lord. What? Sawest them as he sleeps?
No, his age was done cowardly when he awakes.
Why, he shall never wake until the great judgment day.
Then he'll say we stabbed him sleeping.
Judging of that word judgment hath bred a kind of remorse in me.
What? Art thou afraid?
Not to kill him, having the warrant, but to be damned for killing him, from the which no warrant can defend me.
I thought thou had been resolute.
So I am, to let him live.
Then I'll back to the Duke of Gloucester and tell him so.
Nay, nay, prithee, stay a little.
Remember the reward when the deed is done?
Zounds he dies, I had forgot the reward.
Where is thy conscience now?
Oh, in the Duke of Gloucester's purse.
So when he opens it to give us our reward, thy conscience flies out.
'Tis no matter. Let it go. There's few or none will entertain it.
Come, shall we fall to work?
Where art thou, keeper? Give me a cup of wine.
You shall have wine enough, my lord and none.
In God's name, what art thou?
A man, as you are.
But not as I am royal.
Nor you, as we are, loyal.
Thy voice is thunder, but thy looks are humble.
My voice is now the king's, mine looks mine own.
How darkly and how deadly dost thou speak? Your eyes do menace me. Why look you pale?
Who sent you hither? Wherefore do you come?
To
murder me? Aye. You scarcely have the hearts to tell me so, and therefore cannot have the hearts to do it. Wherein, my friends, have I offended you?
offended us? You have not, but the king.
I shall be reconciled to him again.
Never, my lord, therefore prepare to die.
Are you called forth from out of worlds of men, to slay the innocent? What is my offense? Before I be convicted by course of law, to threaten me with death is most unlawful. I charge you, as you hope, to have redemption through Christ's dear blood shed for our grievous sins, that you depart and lay no hands on me. The deed you undertake is damnable.
What we do upon command. And he that hath commanded is the king.
Erroneous vassal, the great King of Kings hath in the tables of his law commanded that thou shalt do no murder. Wilt thou then spurn at his edict and fulfill a man's?
How canst thou urge God's dreadful law to us, when thou hast broke it in such dear degree?
Alas, for whose sake did I those ill deeds? For Edward, for my brother, for his sake. Why, sirs, he sends ye not to murder me for this, for in this sin he is as deep as I. Oh, if God will be revenged for this deed, know you yet, he doth it publicly. Take not the quarrel from his powerful arm. He needs no indirect nor lawless course to cut off those that have offended him.
Who made thee such a bloody minister, when gallant springing brave Plantagenet, thy princely novice, was stricken dead by thee?
My brother's love, the devil and my rage.
Thy brother's love, our duty, and thy fault, provoke us hither to slaughter thee.
Oh, if you love my brother, hate not me, for I am his brother, and I love him well. If you be hired for meed, go back again, and I will send you to my brother Gloucester, who shall reward you better for my life than Edward will for tidings of my death.
You are deceived. Your brother Gloucester hates you.
It cannot be, for when we parted, he hugged me and swore with sobs to labor my delivery.
Why, so he doth. Now he delivers thee from this world's thraldom to the joys of heaven. Make peace with God, for you must die, my lord.
Hast thou that holy feeling in thy soul to counsel me to make my peace with God? And art thou yet so blind to thine own soul that thou wilt war with God by murdering me? Ah, sirs, consider he that set you on to do this deed will hate you for the deed.
What shall we do?
Relent and save your souls.
Relent is cowardly and womanish.
Not to relent is beastly, savage, devilish. My friend, I spy some pity in thy looks. Oh, if thine eye be not a flatterer, come thou on my side and entreat for me.
Look behind you, my lord.
Who shall hinder me to wail and to weep, to chide my fortune and torment myself? I'll join with black despair against my soul, and to myself become an enemy.
What means this scene of rude impatience?
To make an act of tragic violence, Edward, my lord, your son, our king, is dead.
So much interest have I in thy sorrow. For as I had titled in thy noble husband, I have bewept a worthy husband's death, and lived by looking on his images. But now 2 mirrors of princely semblance are cracked in pieces by malignant death. And I, for comfort, have but one false glass, which grieves me when I see my shame in him. Thou art a widow, and yet thou art a mother. Thou hast the comfort of thy children left thee. But death has snatched the husband from mine arms, and plucked 2 crutches from my feeble limbs. Edward and Clarence. Oh, what cause have I, thy being but a moiety of my grief, to overgrow thy plaints and drown thy cries?
Was never a widow who had so dear loss.
Was never a mother had so dear a loss.
Madam, bethink you, like a careful mother, of the young prince your son. Send straight for him, and let him be crowned. In him your comfort lives. Drown desperate sorrow in dead Edward's grave, and plant your joys in living Edward's throne.
With the king dead and his other brother, Clarence, murdered in the Tower, Richard becomes the Lord Protector of England, basically the figure in charge until the elder of Edward's sons grows up. The next part of Richard's plan is to kill all who are loyal to the princes, leaving them alone and unprotected.
I long with all my heart to see the prince. I hope he has much grown since I last saw him.
But I hear no. They say my son of York hath almost overtaken him in his growth.
Aye, mother, but I would not have it so.
Why, my young cousin, it is good to grow.
Grandam, one night as we did sit at supper, my Uncle Rivers talked of how I did grow more than my brother. I, quoth Uncle Gloucester, small herbs have grace, great weeds do grow apace. And since, methinks, I would not grow so fast, because sweet flowers are slow, and weeds do make haste.
Here comes the messenger. What news?
Such news, milady, as it grieves me to report.
How doth the prince?
Well, madame, and in health.
What is thy news then?
Lord Rivers and Lord Grey are sent to prison.
Who hath committed them?
The mighty Dukes Gloucester and Buckingham.
For what offense?
Why, or for what, is all unknown to me, madame.
Ay me, I see the downfall of our house. Come, come, me boy, we will to sanctuary. Madam, farewell.
Trumpets sounded across the palace to announce Prince Edward's arrival from Wales. A group of courtiers and officials gather in the courtyard to welcome him.
Welcome, sweet prince, to London, to your chamber.
Welcome, dear cousin. My thoughts are sovereign. The weary way hath made you melancholy.
No, uncle, but our crossing on the way have made it tedious, wearisome, and heavy. I want more uncles here to welcome me.
Those uncles which you want were dangerous. God keep you from them, and from such false friends.
God keep me from false friends, but they were none.
My lord, the mayor of London comes to greet you.
God bless your grace with health and happy days.
I thank you good, my lord, and thank you all. I thought my mother and my brother York would long before this have met us on the way.
Now a good time. Here comes the sweating lord.
Welcome, my lord. What, will our mother come?
On what occasion, God he knows not, I, the queen your mother, and your brother York have taken sanctuary. The young prince would fain have come with me, but by his mother was perforce withheld.
Fie, what an indirect and peevish course is this of hers. Lord Cardinal, will your grace persuade the queen to send the Duke of York unto his princely brother presently? If she deny, Lord Hastings, go with him, and from her jealous arms pluck him perforce.
Come on, Lord Hastings, will you go with me?
I go, my lord.
Good lords, make all the speedy haste you may. Say, Uncle Gloucester, if our brother come, where shall we sojourn till the coronation?
If I may counsel you, your highness shall oppose you at the tower.
I do not like a tower of any place. Did Julius Caesar build that place, my lord?
He did, my lord, begin that place, which succeeding ages have re-edified.
Is it upon record, or else recorded successfully from age to age he built it?
Upon record, my gracious lord.
But say, my lord, if it were not registered, methinks the should live from age to age, as 'twere retailed in all posterity, even the general all ending day.
So wise, so young, they say, never do live long.
What say you, uncle?
I say, without character, fame, lives not.
Now a good time. Here comes the Duke of York.
Richard of York, how fares our loving brother?
Well, my dread lord, so much to call you now.
Aye, brother, to our grief, as it is yours. Too late he died, that might have kept that title, which by his death hath lost much majesty.
How fares our cousin, noble lord of York?
I thank you, gentle uncle. Oh, my lord, you said that idle weeds were fast in growth, and the prince my brother hath outgrown me far.
He hath, my lord.
And therefore is he idle?
Oh, my fair cousin, I must not say so.
Then is he more beholding to you than I?
I must command, he commands me as my sovereign, but you have power over me as an kinsman.
I pray you, uncle, give me this dagger.
My dagger, little cousin, with all my heart.
A beggar, brother?
Of my kind uncle, who I know will give. Being but a toy, there is no grief to give.
A greater gift than that I'll give my cousin.
A greater gift? Oh, that's a sword to it.
What? Would you have my weapon, little lord?
I would, so that I may thank you as you call me.
How?
Little.
My lord of York will still be cross and talk. Uncle, your grace knows how to bear with him.
You mean to bear me, not to bear with me? Uncle, my brother mocks both you and me, 'cause that I am little like an ape. He thinks you should bear me on your shoulders.
So cunning and so young is wonderful.
My lords, won't you please pass along? Myself and my good cousin Buckingham will, to your mother, to entreat her to meet you at the tower and welcome you.
What? Will you go to the tower, my lord?
My lord protector needs will have it so.
I shall not sleep in quiet at the tower.
Why? What should you fear?
Mary, my Uncle Clarence's angry ghost. My granddam told me he was murdered there.
I fear no uncle's dead,
Nor none that live, I hope.
and if they live, I hope I need not fear. But come, and with a heavy heart, thinking on them, go I unto the tower.
lords, at once, the cause why we are here is to determine of the coronation. In God's name, speak. When is the royal day?
Are all things fitting for that royal time?
It is, in once but nomination.
Tomorrow then I judge a happy day.
Who knows the Lord Protector's mind herein? Who is most inward with the royal duke?
My grace, you think you soonest know his mind.
Who, I, my lord? We know each other's faces, but for our hearts, he knows no more of mine than I of yours. Lord Hastings, you and he are near love.
I thank his grace. I know he loves me well. But for his purpose in the coronation, I have not sounded him, nor he shown his gracious pleasure in any way therein.
Here, now in good time, here comes the Duke himself.
My noble lords and cousins all, good morrow.
My lord, had you not come upon your cue, William Lord Hastings had pronounced your part, I mean your voice, for crowning of the king.
Then my Lord Hastings, no man might be bolder. His lordship knows me well and loves me well.
I thank your grace.
My Lord of Ely,
My lord?
when I was last in Halborn, I saw good strawberries in your garden there. I do beseech you, go send for some of them.
I will, my lord.
Cousin of Buckingham, a word with you. Catesby has sounded Hastings in our business, and finds the testy gentleman so hot, and he will lose his head or give consent, and his master's son, as worshipful as he terms it, shall lose the royalty to England's throne.
Withdraw you hence, my lord. I'll follow you.
We have not set down this day of triumph. Tomorrow, in my opinion, is too sudden.
Protector, I have sent for these strawberries.
His grace looks cheerfully and smooth today. There is some conceit, or other likes him well. I think there never man in Christendom that can less hide his love or hate than he. For by his face straight shall you know his heart.
What of his heart perceivest you in his face? Of any likelihood he has shown today?
With no man here he is offended, for were he had shown it in his looks.
I pray he be not, I say.
I pray you all, tell me what they deserve that to conspire my death with devilish plots of damned witchcraft, and that have prevailed upon my body with their hellish charms?
I say, my lord, they have deserved death.
Then be your eyes the witness of this ill. See how I'm bewitched. Behold, mine arm is like a blasted sapling, all withered up. And this is Edward's wife, that monstrous witch, who by her witchcraft thus has marked me.
If she has done this, my gracious lord,
If the protector of this damned strumpet tells me thou of ifs, thou art a traitor, off with his head. Now by St. Paul I swear, I will not dine until I see the same. Stanley, look that it be done. Now the rest that love me, rise and follow me.
With the princes locked in the tower and the late king's most loyal followers dead, the only person standing between Richard and the throne was the Lord Mayor of London. Richard sent Buckingham to try to convince the Lord Mayor that Edward should never have been king in the first place, and that his sons aren't true heirs to the throne. The next part of his plan is to act all godly and humble in hopes that the Lord Mayor will practically beg Richard to take the throne. Will the Lord Mayor see through Richard's act, or will he be deceived as so many others have already?
Go up to the leads. The Lord Mayor knocks. Welcome, my lord. I dance attendance here. I think the Duke will not be spoke withal. Here comes his servant. How now, Catesby? What says your lord?
My lord, he doth entreat your grace to visit him tomorrow and next day. He is within 2 right reverend fathers, divinely bent to meditation, and no worldly suit would he be moved from his holy exercise.
Return, good Catesby, to thy lord again. Tell him myself, the mayor, and citizens are come to have some conference with his grace.
I will, my lord.
Aha, my lord, this prince is not an Edward. He is not lolling on a lewd love bed, but on his knees at meditation, not sleeping to engross his idle body, but praying to enrich his watchful soul. Happy were England would this gracious prince take on himself the sovereignty thereof, but I fear we shall ne'er win him to it.
Mary, God forbid his grace should say us nay.
I fear he will. How now, Catesby? What says your lord?
My lord, he wonders to what end you have assembled. My lord, he fears you mean no good to him.
By heaven, I come in perfect love to him. And so once more, go return and tell his grace. When holy and devout religious men are at their beads, 'tis hard to draw them thence. Famous Plantagenet, most gracious prince, lend favorable ears to our request, and pardon us the interruption of thy devotion and right Christian zeal.
My lord, there needs no such apology. Believing this, what is your grace's pleasure? I do suspect that I have done some offense that seems disgracious in the city's eyes, and that you come to reprehend my ignorance.
You have, my lord. Would it might please your grace, at our entreaties, to amend that fault.
Else wherefore breathe I on a Christian land?
Then no, it is your fault that you resign the supreme seat, the throne majestical, the sceptered office of your ancestors, your state of fortune and your due of birth, to the corruption of a blemished stock, which to recur, we heartily solicit your gracious self to take on you the charge and kingly government of this your land.
Alas, why would you heap these cares on me? I am unfit for state and majesty. I do beseech you, take it not amiss, that I cannot nor will not yield to you.
If you refuse it, as in love and zeal, then we'll plant some other in the throne, to the disgrace and downfall of your house. Come, citizens, zounds, I entreat no more.
Do not.
Lord, and accept their suit.
Well, would you enforce me to world of care? Well, call them again. I'm not made of stone.
All the way off, come all the way off.
Cousin of Buckingham, and ye sage, grave men, since you will buckle fortune on my back to bear her burden, whether I will or no, I must have patience to endure the load. And for God doth know, and you may partly see, how far I am from the desire of this.
God bless your grace.
Then I salute you with this kingly title. Long live Richard, England's royal king.
Amen.
Tomorrow, will it please you to be crowned?
Even when you please, since you will have it so.
Tomorrow, then, we will attend your grace, and so most joyfully we take our leave.
Come, let us do our holy task again. Farewell, good cousin. Farewell, gentle friends.
Back at the palace, the gloating Richard, who has now been crowned King of England, enters in triumph, with murder still very much on his mind.
Stand all apart. Cousin of Buckingham,
My gracious sovereign,
thus high by thy advice and thy assistance is King Richard seated. But shall we wear these honors for a day, or shall they last, and we rejoice in them?
still live they, and forever may they last.
O Buckingham, now do I play the touch, to try or fly our current golden deed. Young Edward lives. Think now what I would say.
Say on, my loving lord.
Why, Buckingham, I say I would be king.
Why, so you are, my thrice renowned liege.
Ha! Am I king? 'Tis so, but Edward lives.
True, noble prince.
Cousin, thou wert not wont to be so dull. Shall I be plain? I want the bastards dead, and I would have it suddenly performed. What sayest thou? Speak suddenly. Be brief.
Your grace may do your pleasure.
Tut, tut, thou art all ice. Thy kindness freezeth. Do I have thy consent that they shall die?
Give me some breath, some little pause, my lord, before I positively speak herein. I will resolve your grace immediately.
The king is angry. See, he bites his lip.
Catesby,
My lord?
go call Tyro hither, and rumor abroad that Anne, my wife, is sick and like to die. I must be married to my brother's daughter, or else my kingdom stands on brittle glass. Murder her brothers, then marry her, uncertain way of gain. But I am so far in blood that sin will pluck on sin. Tear falling pity shows not in this eye.
James Tyrrell, and your most obedient subject.
Art thou indeed?
Prove me, my gracious sovereign.
Darest thou resolve to kill a friend of mine?
Aye, my lord, but I'd rather kill 2 enemies.
Ha! There'st thou have it, 2 deep enemies, foes to my rest, and my sweet sleep's disturbers. Are they that I would have thee kill? Tyrrell, I mean those bastards in the tower.
Let me have open means to come to them, and soon I'll rid you from the fear of them.
Thou singest sweet music. Hark, come hither. Go by this token. Rise, and lend thine ear. Say there's no more but so. Say it is done, and I will love thee and prefer thee too.
'Tis done, my gracious lord.
Shall we hear from thee, Tyrrell, ere we sleep?
You shall, my lord. And bloody deed is done, the most arch of a piteous massacre that ever yet this land was guilty of. All hail, my sovereign league.
Count Tyrrell, am I happy in thy news?
Be happy, for it is done, my lord.
But didst thou see them dead
I did, my lord.
and buried?
The chaplain of the tower hath buried them, but how, in what place, I do not know.
Come to me, Tyrell, soon after supper, and you will tell me the process of their death. Meantime, think how I would do thee good, and be inheritor of thy desire. Farewell, till soon.
Elizabeth and the Duchess of York lament the deaths of the young princes. And the Duchess condemns Richard for the bloody murder of his extended family and tells him she regrets having ever given birth to him and wishes him a bloody death. Then Buckingham, Richard's right-hand man, having met the limit of his willingness to kill, also turns against Richard and revolts. Richard, to no one's surprise, gives orders to have him beheaded. Then Richard receives news of Richmond's invasion, and as bad news piles up, Richard begins to panic for the first time. All across England, nobles have sided with Richmond and taken up arms against Richard. The two armies, Richmond's and Richard's, set up camp at Bosworth and prepare for battle. While the two leaders sleep, they dream. The ghosts of everyone Richard has murdered appear to both men.
Let me sit heavy on thy soul tomorrow. It was I who was washed to death with fulsome wine. Poor Clarence, by thy guile betrayed to death. Tomorrow in the battle, think on me and fall thy edgeless sword. Despair and die. Thou offspring of the house of Lancasters, the wronged heirs of York do pray for thee. Good angels do guard thy battle. Live and flourish.
Dream on thy cousins, smothered in the tower.
Let us be led within thy bosom, Richard, and weigh thee down to ruin, shame, and death. Thy nephew's souls bid thee despair and die.
Sleep, Richmond, sleep in peace, and wake in joy. Good angels guard thee from the boar's annoy.
Live and beget a happy race of kings. Edward's unhappy sons do bid thee flourish.
Richard, thine wife, thine wretched and thy wife, whom never slept a quiet hour with thee, now fills thy sleep with perturbations. Tomorrow, in the battle, think of me, and fall thy edgeless sword, despair and die. Thou quiet soul, sleep, thou quiet sleep. Dream of success and happy victory. Thy adversary's wife doth pray for thee.
was I that helped thee to the crown. The last was I that felt thy tyranny. Oh, in the battle, think on Buckingham, and die in terror of thy guiltiness. Dream on of bloody deeds and death, fainting, despair, despairing, yield thy breath. I died for hope, ere I could lend thee aid, but cheer thy heart, and thou wilt not be dismayed. God and good angel fight on Richmond's side, and Richard falls in the height of his pride.
Give me now the horse, by the moons, have mercy. Soft, I did but dream, a coward conscience. How dost thou afflict me? Cold, fearful drops stand on my trembling flesh. What do I fear? Myself? There's none else by. Richard loves Richard, that is, I am I. Is there a murderer here? No. Yes, I am. Then fly. What, from myself? Great reason why. Lest I revenge. What, myself upon myself? Alack, I love myself. Wherefore, for any good deeds that I myself have unto myself? Oh no, alas, I rather hate myself, for hateful deeds committed by myself. I shall despair, for no creature loves me. Methought the souls of all that I had murdered came to my tent, and every one did threat tomorrow's vengeance on the head of Richard.
As dawn broke, the sound of drums beat faintly in the distance. The sound of drums beat faintly in the distance. Richmond's army was on the move, ready to attack.
Upon them, victory sits on our helms,
Shouted Richard as his army readied itself for battle. Just then, the mist parted to reveal Richmond in the distance, galloping towards them. Hundreds of cavalry in tight formation behind him. Then, with a clashing of swords, the two sides met.
A horse, my kingdom for a horse. I think there be 6 Richmonds on the field today. 5 have I killed instead of him. A horse, my kingdom for a horse.
Race friends, the day is ours, the bloody dog is dead. We will unite the white rose and the red. Smile heaven upon this fair conjunction, that have long frowned upon their enmity. What traitor hears this, and says not amen? England hath long been mad and scarred herself. The brother blindly shed the brother's blood. The father rashly slaughtered his own son. The son compelled been butchered to the sire. All this divided York and Lancaster. Oh, now let Richmond and Elizabeth, the true succeeders of each royal house, by God's fair ordinance conjoin together, and let their heirs, God, if thy will be so, enrich the time to come with smooth-faced peace, in smiling plenty and prosperous days. Now civil wounds are stopped, peace lives again, that ye may long live here. God say amen.